Let me see, I'm going to talk in a second. I want you guys to see something. See that truck? That's a picture of a truck in the ocean. You see it? I turned this thing around because I wanted you to see that. Meaning I can't see myself right now because I got the phone the other way. I was debating to do another video. I've done a lot of videos, and I wanted you guys to focus on the teaching one that I uploaded this morning. But I felt like maybe it's good to do one. I came down and went to see some of the guys, and now I'm not looking at myself, so I don't know if I got it right on my face. And I went to the park and I saw George's girlfriend Diane, but I was looking to see some of the guys. I figured, let me go see Furman, because Furman parks, that pickup truck is the one I'm sitting in right now with Furman. So he told me the story. I'll have him share a little bit of it, how it happened, but I figured, let me go see if Furman's around. He normally parks his truck right on one of my little prayer islands right there. So I came down. Sure enough, I parked and I didn't see his truck. I said, I'll pull up a little bit and I'll stop. I'll just sit in the corner. Then I looked over this way, underneath the little bridge here. I see Furman's truck. But I noticed he had his head on the steering wheel. Of course, some of the guys fall asleep sometimes, and I'm thinking, man, I hope he's not dead, to be honest with you. Because he's just sitting in the truck, car door open, truck door open, head on the steering wheel. But I walked over, I woke him up. So it was kind of little fellowship we're having. There's a few verses that we were discussing. And we don't have to talk about how everything came up, but one that came to my mind, I was talking about Job yesterday on the video that I mentioned I seen Little Charlie. And so we're talking a little bit about Job and the struggles of Job. There's another scripture that I taught on that we were discussing. I've taught this the last few months, but they came to Jesus and said it was a test. The Sadducees, who I've been teaching on, they didn't believe in the resurrection. And one time they came to Jesus and said, Jesus, there was this guy who was married, and he died. And the Bible, the Old Testament, says if a brother is married to a wife and they have no kids, and the brother dies, then the next brother or the next heir is going to marry that woman. That's correct. The Bible does teach that, the Old Testament. So now they're trying to trap Jesus, and they say, well, this guy died, next one married her, all 7, and they didn't have kids. That's why 7 of them married this lady. And then they said, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be, for the 7 had her? And Jesus responds, I like his responses that he gives. He says, you do err. You make a mistake not knowing the scriptures nor the power of God. And then he corrects them. And he says, don't you remember the story of Moses? When God appeared to Moses in the Old Testament, I think Exodus, he said, I am the God of Abraham, I am the God of Isaac, and I am the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living, because all men live unto him. And then Jesus responds. He's correcting these Sadducees. And then he says, in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God. Therefore, you make a big mistake. And I like when he responds that way, because he puts those guys to silence. Now, that verse, I've taught it. What is that saying? There are different Christian groups that have different views about what happens if I had a wife that died, and then I know I'm going to see her in heaven, I'm going to see her again in the resurrection. But we do know from this scripture that it says, you're neither married nor given in marriage, but are as the angels, simply meaning the angels are not married, okay? They don't reproduce. Now, Paul talks about the relationship between Christ and the church, which is the bride, and then he uses the example of natural marriage. Because I feel the wind, so I'm hoping you can hear me. Whenever I get wind, you can't hear me too So now Paul, when he uses that example, he's saying that this is a great mystery, but he speaks about Christ and the bride. And what I've tried to teach some of my other friends, there are different Christian groups that believe in heaven there'll be marriage, there'll be reproduction, you'll have kids and all these types of things. These are offshoots of Christianity, all right? I won't give the particular name of that group. But what a lot of Christians have the concept, sort of like, well, when I get to heaven, in the resurrection, when we have new bodies, which we certainly will have, some people bring up, but it's going to be hard because my wife is going to be there, I'm going to be there, but we're not going to have that same type of intimacy or relationship. But the comparison that Paul was given about marriage, this is the best way I can explain it. On earth, yes, the strongest bond or connection is between a man and a wife. And it's not just physical, but it's spiritual, it's an emotional bond. That's why Paul also talks about, he rebukes them in the book of Corinthians and says, do you not know that some of them were sleeping around with hookers, basically? And he says, when you become one or you sleep with someone, you become one. And he's rebuking them because they were doing it out of marriage. But the unity, the oneness that we're going to have when we're in heaven, when we have the resurrection, it's not like you're going to see your mate somewhere else and you're sitting over here and you're all worshiping God, which we will be doing for eternity. And it's not like, oh, I wished I could, it's not like you're going to be hugging each other like a brother and sister in church. No, we are the bride. So the intimacy that we're going to have in this communion with Christ, who's the bridegroom, is so intense, beyond sexual intimacy. It's beyond all of that. And so we're going to be so united with the bridegroom, Christ, that it's not like, oh, I miss my wife, she's over there, and we're all... No. The union that we're going to have is so intense that we're all going to be this one bride, okay? And it's hard to explain that sometimes to people that say, and I think that's one of the reasons some of the cults have marriage in heaven doctrines, because it seems in the natural, I want to still be with my wife, or the wife who died, or the husband who died, but it's the intensity of the relationship that we're going to have as the bride ourselves, all of us corporately, with Christ, not a physical thing, but this union, that the other natural union, which Paul says is just a picture of this heavenly union, is going to pale in comparison. So you're not going to have this experience in heaven where the wife's over there, you're over here, you're like, oh, God bless you, sister. No, it's an intense union that we really can't go. We don't have words to describe what it's going to be like, but that's the best way I can explain it. So that came up as we were talking. If Furman wants to share, he told me when I walked up here. So I told him I was looking for you, brother, and then I saw your truck. Right now the tides on Padre Island, the Gulf of Mexico here, are very high. I know I haven't been to the island in a while, but the tides even here, some of my little walking spots. He got stuck, and he showed me the pictures. I tried to show you that in the beginning of this video. He was stuck to the point where, look, normally a regular tow truck that's made just to go out to the island and pull people out, that happened to my truck 15 years ago. I parked right on the island once, and my truck got stuck a little bit, but I had to wait for a tow truck, and I called one that pulls trucks out of the ocean. There's special tow trucks. The guy charged me like $4,000, actually $3,000 something. But once the tide came up, I wasn't as deep as Furman was. So I'm going to but sure enough, he got stuck out there. Tell me a little bit about what happened, Furman.
Well,
you were parking out there and staying out there.
yeah, I was in the park for the evening, and immediately I felt the truck sinking. I began to try to get it out, of course, and I noticed that it was sinking further and further and faster. And then at the same time, the tide was getting higher and higher, which they were fixing to close the beaches that evening, and I didn't know because of a tropical storm, and it was going to bring the tide up higher than usual. Several trucks, they showed up trying to help me out, of course. There's always somebody out there trying to help people. And about 3 or 4 to come by, and about the fourth one, it was basically too late, and I knew it. The tires were already under the sand, and the water was gushing into the doors. And basically, in that situation, nobody can get you out because there's a suction that the wet sand creates, like a plunger, and it pulls you down. And the truck was already down and getting further and further. So I gathered. I live in my truck, so I gathered a few belongings I need, and I pretty much accepted the fact that it was gone. And the strange, what happened was right about that time, this truck was driving up toward me, and I didn't. It wasn't. Several trucks came by that day trying to help me, but there was something different. I couldn't explain it, but there's something different about this truck, and he shows up, and I'm ready, fixing to tell him, hey, I appreciate your time, and you don't even waste your time, basically, but I appreciate you trying to help. And he wasn't hearing none of that. He just walked right past by me. He walked by me and said, "I'm getting your truck out." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." But I said, I appreciate it, but as you can see, it's already sunk. I mean, it was gone. And but the way he said it, I believed him.
Other people try to pull you out first.
Oh yeah, at least 4.
Okay.
It was the way he said it. I believed him. Of why, I don't know, but I actually believed him. It was as if he was sent. And I was telling my brother John here that I believe he was sent. The scripture says, be careful who you entertain. Some have entertained angels unaware. I believe he was sent, an angel sent from God. Why? Of course, he didn't introduce himself as an angel. Because the way he said it, he said it with authority. Like he was sent, and he knew. There was no doubt in his mind he was going to get it out. I don't know how, and he got it out. As you can see, where he's sitting in it right now. And not only did he get it out, there was no damage done to it. And God don't do anything halfway. God does it all the way, and He's not going to get it out and everything. He finishes what He starts, and that's another confirmation that it was an angel to me, because there was no damage done to the truck. And being underwater, there should have been some kind of damage, and there wasn't none at all. And that's another confirmation to me. And he got the truck out just as he said. And he didn't have a big truck; he had a small truck. That made it even more, wow. And that's the second time that has happened to this truck, and also all within a month. And another time it happened to me. It wasn't the truck that was sinking; it was me. I was swimming at night where I shouldn't have been, and I was drowning. And I got caught in it's called a swirl. There's different types of undertows and currents that take you under fast, and there's some that take you slow. The one I was talking to a Navy SEAL, and he said it was a swirl, and that's the most hardest one to get out of, almost impossible. And I got caught up in the swirl. And of course, I didn't drown. I'm here speaking today, and thanks to the Lord. But that was a very slow. It was as death was taunting me. It was taking me slowly but surely. And I was telling brother, I think about these things every day. What's in them that God has for me, because God has something for you if you pay attention. And you look. The 2 times this truck, I almost lost it. And then my life almost lost. I'm still learning from that, and some of the things are my walk with God was. I felt like I was drowning. I don't feel like I'm doing what I should be doing, or allowing God to do what He should be doing through me. I was kind of like drowning spiritually, just from just disobedience, in our lives, in certain areas of our lives, can cause us to drown. Drowning effect basically, gasping for air, trying to hang on to life, man. Just some of the stuff, and just and God, of course, and I love this about God. It's kind of like I love it and I hate it at the same time. He takes it all the way to the end, when you're back against the wall, so to speak, so He can get the glory when He delivers you. That way, you know it was Him, and it was Him, and it is Him, and I thank Him for that.
Let me make a comment real quick. We're sitting under the little bridge, kind of where I live. Apostle Allen, I did not give this update on the video. You've seen Allen. Allen used to camp out right behind the truck, up the top of this thing here. He had a heart attack about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. The guys told me. I wondered why I didn't see him. He was in the hospital, and he's in a nursing home, a senior home and I think it's in, they told me, San Diego, which is one of the little towns I go to, because my daughter helps run the pet shelter out in San Diego when I go to the meetings over in Matheson. So pray for Alan. That's why I have not seen him. That's why he's not been on the bridge here before. Also, Roger. I don't know if I ever got Roger on video. Roger is an old friend. He's one of the first guys I met in Roger Heiserman. And Roger, he's kind of like, people see him as a street drunk type thing, because he's just always out on the streets, Roger, and he's kind of lived that way. But Roger fell down and hit his head. They took him to the hospital about a week and a half ago, and then they had to put him induce a coma because he was going through the DTs, and they had to put him in a coma. And so his situation, I haven't heard an update in about 2 or 3 days, but pray for my friend Roger, pray for Alan, pray for all the guys. And I just felt it was good for Furman to share that testimony. I saw the pictures. I might have Furman send the pictures to my phone. I'll upload this video right now. And if I can, I'll post them on Facebook, where you're going to see this video in a few minutes. But I've seen trucks, and once they get that far in, like Furman was saying, the suction, that's what prevents you from pulling them out. And he was, the pictures I saw, the other ones, look, this truck seemed to be like even a professional tow truck that's made to go out there, more than likely wouldn't have been able to get that out. So that's why Furman was saying it might have been an angel that was sent to help him. Whether it was or not, we don't know. But the way it happened, look, that was miraculous either way. So I figured I'd share that. Pray for all my friends, and I'm going to upload this. I might have not had it on my face or Furman's face correctly, but it was a good testimony. God's using my friends, and we're just sitting here hoping that he uses these videos. God bless everybody. That's it.